This is Dr. Chris's Radio of Horror Show here at 91.3 FM, WCW on 11/15/2020. Thank you for joining us for this special interview for a hot new movie that's out right now called Blind, a trailer I saw about a year ago at this magical thing called conventions.
On the show, Rock and Shock, especially now that that's gone, that's a bummer.
Aww.
Yes, definitely. Which is where I met these two crazy cats from. Joe Knetter and Sarah French back on the show this year after they were on the show earlier this year talking about Blind. Joe is the writer. Sarah is the star and been on all the posters and stuff like that. This is a love story of how they actually met each other. It's very funny.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
So Joe killed off all of Sarah's
friends. She was in the mask.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because, yes, that's... Joe was lying naked in his bed being like, take me now. I want you. And then Sarah was in the mask with a disfigured face. But I thought that was kind of funny that it's like this, obsessed fan over this, former actress, beautiful woman. And the obsessed fan is kind of a monster in a way, and he's like bald and big and huge and disfigured. And I was like... There's something here that's like Beauty and the Beast, but also something like, I don't know. Is it can you tell me, we've talked about this before and you've mentioned this before in stuff you've written or whatever about like Joe looks like the way he does and Sarah looks like the way she does and people can't believe you guys are together. Is it supposed to be like an analogy to that?
No. Not really. Let me first, with Blind, let me tell you the story of how Blind came about. The director, Marcel Walls, had a dream that he was shooting a movie in his house. And in the dream, he saw a full crew. He saw an actress that was playing blind and a killer. And he came over to my house the next day to watch a movie and mentioned it to me and Sarah. Hey, I had this idea for a movie, which then we went back and forth on a little bit. And we had a 5-week timetable where we were free to shoot a movie, but we had to wrap within 5 weeks, total production. So we went from his dream to wrapping the whole movie in exactly 5 weeks. So it was kind of a quick, everybody involved in the movie were our friends, our Taco Tuesday friends. We all just worked together. We were shooting 2.5 weeks after the dream. So it was 100 miles per hour. We made the movie for $25,000. So
Woo! We
made it very, very low budget.
And I was shooting another film right up until we started shooting Blind. I was the lead in that. It was the special I was shooting right before this.
Yeah.
So I literally got off the plane. I had a day to prep, and then we're off and running.
So based on our time frame of having 5 weeks and the budget we had, we very quickly decided that it needed to be something different. The beauty of doing a movie on such a low budget is you take chances. You do things that are different. You do things that are weird. So we just thought, let's do this. Marcel had the dream about a blind girl and a guy after her, so let's do that. But let's not do the typical movie where it's a stalk and slash. Mm-hmm. Let's make it more of a drama, like a 70s style slow burn drama, where we take it in directions you may not expect it to go. Without giving any spoilers, these movies generally end with a big fight through the house.
Yep.
The killer stalking the prey. And if you've seen the movie, as you see, we go in a different direction for the end of the movie. But we knew we had to do something weird, something different.
And something contained.
Something contained because of our time frame. We had 10 days to shoot it after 2.5 weeks of the script and then pre-production. So we were really off. For me, it was my love letter to Sarah to give her a role she hasn't played before. And my goal was also that you feel for the bad guy a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because the world we live in, it's not always good and evil. There's some, people that do bad things that, may be a product of an environment, which you'll see much more of in the sequel, of course. Because it is a planned trilogy. But I guess to answer your question 6.5 minutes after you asked it,
Wait. I got a new question. It's going to be a planned trilogy. Is the sequel going to be deaf and the last one going to be dumb? Blind, deaf, and dumb?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
That would be great, though. Blind, then deaf, then dumb.
Yeah, I mean, we'd cut Sarah out of the middle and bring her back for the last one, but.
Oh!
I'm gonna hit him. All right, that was a hit.
Wow! Ouch! Jeez!
No, I mean, the trilogy is meant for the first movie to be a slow burn 70s. The second movie is very much an 80s slasher. And then the third one is a 90s. We wanted to take a different style for each one.
I mean, there's technically a slasher in this movie because he wears a mask, he kills victim off after victim after victim off, or whatever. He's technically considered to be a slasher.
He is, but he doesn't do quite what everybody does when there's a slasher. Usually, it's more about the gore and the violence, and we wanted with the second one really prove he's a full-on slasher because of the luck we had with the merchandise, with the Trick or Treat Studios putting out the full costume, the mask. We have an action figure coming, all the merch deals.
That's amazing for a movie that only cost $25,000.
Yeah. We kept that quiet
until
we sold like 24 territories worldwide, all the merch deals. Now we can admit that it was a $25,000 movie. Doesn't look it at all.
No.
Because we went all in. We had a very talented crew working on it.
It looks like that house cost $25,000 to rent a month.
It would have, but that was where the director lives. He rents that house.
Oh my
God! Right under
God!
the Hollywood sign. We couldn't show the Hollywood sign because that would up the budget too much. But it's right under the Hollywood sign, and so I knew the house well, so I could write around the house fairly well. But the house is an issue too because it's all glass. You're trying to shoot a movie and it's all reflective, surfaces.
Yeah, Thomas Rist really did an amazing job working around that.
Yeah, our DP,
was just amazing.
He shot it, he pulled focus, he dumped footage, he lit it, he did everything. It was one guy. We had a very, very small crew, but again, it was friends. We really wanted to just prove friends could come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, going from an idea to wrapping in 5 weeks on a feature is crazy. It's crazy.
And
we used all of our resources where we could, and just all really worked well together. It was a well-oiled machine through and through.
And we've had very good luck with. We knew it had to be a festival movie because it's such a weird, kind of unique, slow burn, not what you're expecting at all. So I knew it had to play festivals to prove that there was an audience in order for us to get the distro deals, which we've done very well with. And the costume, too. The only bummer with the costume is obviously Halloween is pretty much canceled this year. And the movie hadn't came out yet. So I don't know how sales were for the costume this year. But my anticipation will be hopefully a little bit more next year.
Yeah.
And we have the nice action figure coming, too, which is a nice premium action figure. So
of Sarah, right? We can all finally play with Sarah French? No.
Oh, no.
That it might come with the next movie. We'll see.
She's been trying to get her own action figure.
Like, come on, guys.
But nobody buys Final Girl action figures.
maybe at the next movie.
I mean, God, they only just came out with a Jamie Lee Curtis action figure recently.
Right? That's crazy.
For I think it was Halloween 2, right? She's like, it's the hospital one. It's like, what?
Yeah, I'm not
I think we need
sure.
to start a petition.
Why don't we have Jamie Lee from like part H2O where she's got like the axe, she's got the sexy short haircut we all love her with.
Oh no, I want her from the new one with the long gray
Oh
hair
God.
and alcoholic and just shooting shit.
Like she comes with like multiple guns and stuff like that. Oh wait, I think that figure is coming. I swear, I think that figure is coming. If you look at like, like Horror Hound, they put out like they have like an action figure section.
Yeah.
Because they don't got a lot of movies to talk about, so they might as well talk about that one. You guys should get into the newest issue of Horror Hound, hopefully with this one. I don't know if it's in the Conjuring universe issue that just came out, but they should definitely like review this or cover it in their little independent horror movie section.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that's all up to kind of
it's
distro
up to
at this point to kind of push, which in this day and age is really tough. It's tough. Everything's kind of word of mouth and pushing. I know the movie's coming out on a few other places, which I can't say yet, but we're waiting for the physical copies to end up places so that it can be out places in maybe in a box that's red and video stores, that kind of stuff. So we're excited by it because we just pulled it out of our ass, and it's
really did.
Sarah's fantastic in it. It's a hard role to play.
It really was.
And I challenge everybody. Marcel, the director, is known for kind of gore horror,
Hmm.
and obviously, if you've read any of my stuff, I'm known for really. But I thought, let's do something different. Let's do a drama. Let's have the mute be the inspirational coach.
Why do you have the movie, the ending, like the way you have it? And I don't want to give it away, but I kind of have to, but I don't really want to.
Let's not give it away. I'll explain the ending without a spoiler.
Okay.
The ending is the very first thing we came up with, because as it's a planned trilogy, but you never know whether you're going to get the rest. So I wanted to end the movie in a way that if this was all we had, here's the situation. Faye is blind. She's a character hopefully you care about through the whole movie.
Right.
With a movie like this, inevitably, let's be honest. If we're playing it real, if there's a hulking killer and a blind woman in a house, we know how that's probably going to end if we're going to play it realistically. So for me, after putting her through all this that she goes through in the movie, we end where we do because hopefully if the audience is identified and likes her, we leave a glimmer of hope that things are going to be okay, that maybe her struggle through the movie is going to help her get through this. Because if we continued for another 30 seconds to a minute, the audience might not like what they would see if it's a one and done movie. Obviously, we are, there will be the sequel for sure. So now you'll see what happens anyway. But we had a plan A, plan B, whether it was one movie. But we wanted to also, if we want to get into the kind of the douchebaggy asshole writer thought of doing it, the situation at the end is she doesn't see what happens, so the audience doesn't need to see either. We kind of played with that idea, just to be different. Because let's be honest, if he wants to kill her, she's dead.
Sarah, what did you have to do to act like a blind person? Because sometimes it doesn't look good on screen, and sometimes it does. Like Charlie Cox in Daredevil did an amazing job, but he had a blind trainer that helped him, which was great.
Yeah.
So,
well, as you know, I didn't have really any time to prepare. I mean, I was working on that other film. I'd work on the other film during the day, and then at night I would memorize and do what I can to get ready for this.
But prior to leaving, Marcel and I and Caroline spent a day with our friend Kevin, who is blind. He plays Sophia's husband in the film. He's really blind. He actually had cataracts disease, and he was I think 2 years into being blind. He went blind 2 years prior to the filming the movie.
So we spent the day with him just to see how he went through his everyday life, walking down the street, how he is in his apartment and things like that, so we can kind of get a feel like how he is and what he goes through on a daily basis.
oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky to be able to experience that myself. And Kevin's such a great guy, and he was so amazing in the film. We're so happy to have him.
And you also, I love, I hope you caught that picture I posted of the way you look in the movie in the very beginning. You're just your mouth is open, and I'm like, Sarah French's 2020 face.
Yeah.
It's true, right?
Yes, definitely. You look so unglamorous in this movie, but you're supposed to be like tired and just exhausted from this, like, being blind and everything else or whatever. So it was different. Whereas like on the posters, you're all prettied up and beautiful and blah, 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 blah. But in the movie itself or whatever, you're not as like, glamorous and like stupendous like you are when you go to cons or in your photographs or anything like that.
No.
So
no, exactly. That's what I loved about this role. I mean, as you can see in the movie, I'm still wearing a little makeup, but I feel like my character would have, because she's been an actress, a lot of her life. So she's still going to want to try to look good when she can. But yeah, I mean, it was a great role. When I first read the script, I cried because I really felt the character. Joe knows how to write for me. The levels of his writing is just amazing.
Yeah, it definitely has like this, you know, there's the horror stuff. We all know Joe likes horror and writes that very well. But it also has this like completely like human character side, this whole handicap kind of, you know, feeling to it or whatever, where it's done extremely respectful. And there's actual you know, drama to it that if there was no slasher, it would make an excellent short film of just this, you know, once upon a time poster girl of glamorous fame and fortune like Sarah French is, turned into, you know, the blind woman who thinks she's ugly because she can't see, which is, you know, I'm not blind, but I have dated somebody who's blind. I dated a blind girl for about 6 months, and she took a job in California, and we, you know, broke it off. But it was a, no pun intended, blind date, and someone set us up because they were like, you love horror movies, and she loves horror fiction, but she's not a horror movie fan. And I was like, why? And she's like, because she lost her sight, and she's kind of blind. And I was like,
Yeah.
what what am I supposed to do with this? And I explained the story to her, and she thought it was very funny. But she's like, yeah, I had an accident and I lost my sight, and now it's basically like I don't have any sight. Things are like it's almost completely gone. But she said that, you know, it took a lot to get used to because she had seen for so long. You know, she wasn't born blind, thankfully. So she's like, you know, I have a treasure of the fact that I have all my memories or whatever. I remember everything. You know, I enjoy listening to films, but it's not as much my thing anymore. But you know, she got heavily into audiobooks and things like that. That's been a big help for her.
Yeah.
And
Very
it
cool.
was a weird experience because I always felt like I had to like protect her and do things. And she was like, you know, my apartment is set up the way I need it to be.
Yeah.
Trust me. I mean, you shut the lights off, you will fall over more often than I ever will because it doesn't affect me.
Oh, 100%.
No,
Right.
That was what they noticed with Kevin is through his apartment, he had no problems.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, he walked through it
He could
seamlessly.
move right through it. And, you know, we wanted to be very respectful.
Yeah, that's
Oh, 100%.
Of what it is and hoping that, you know, we could treat the characters with respect because it's a terrible thing, you know, knowing Kevin, which I'm sure he came over to a New Year's Eve party at Marcel's house. And I'm sure that's what triggered Marcel to have that dream. You know, a few days later, you know, he's just to imagine that, like, you know, one of the big things is like somebody that goes blind throughout their life, they still dream in full color. They see everything when they dream.
right.
So, and they wake to darkness every day, which is just heartbreaking. And we really wanted to focus on that, especially Act 1.
Yeah,
We really wanted Act 1 to just be, let's get to know her.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like what is it? The Stand. Nick's character in the Dreamscape, he can talk.
Yeah.
Hemlock Grove, the you know the figured older, you know, younger sister with the, you know, hands all wrapped up and she can't talk and her face is all messed up. I forget what the character is, but in her dream world, she's like beautiful and she has a normal voice.
And that's even for Pretty Boy, that's even his world he puts himself in. Obviously, he's not an attractive fella. So, like, his, you know, thought of perfection is obviously Faye. And almost like a Ken doll is what he thinks matches her. So that's the reason he goes that way. And you know, Ken Hall made the mask for us, who did the mask for The Strangers, and he did a great job. Because, again, we were shooting 2.5 weeks after the dream. Like I wrote 3 features in 10 days. Blind was one of them. And so it was just, we had to move. And you just take weird chances, you know, and we're so happy that the response has been good to it because it's not a movie you expect. You know, people going into it thinking it's going to be a full splatter or gore movie, may be a little disappointed by what we do with it. They'll definitely love the sequel. But like the biggest flack we got actually out of the UK was that we didn't cast a blind actress in the lead. Almost every UK review just goes off on us for not casting a blind actress as a lead. Of course, no idea knowing we just used our friends at $25,000 in 5 weeks. So that wasn't even a thought process. And actually, we did have a blind actor, Kevin,
Right,
in the movie.
and somebody said that about Daredevil as well, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, you do realize this is a superhero fiction. There's no blind person that's gonna act like the way Matt Murdock does. I mean, come on, use some like
Yeah.
they're I'm for that to an extent, but then there's going to be some limitation. There's going to be serious limitations you're going to come encounter with or whatever. And it's like, yes, you can write a script in Braille, but then there's also a lot of other stuff that can happen. It's like, oh, they didn't cast the guy who is handicapped with one leg. They cast The Rock. Well, who's the guy with the handicap with the one leg? Nobody. Who's The Rock? Multi-billion-dollar actor. I mean, it's like, come on.
It's called acting for a reason.
Right.
We wanted to be respectful, and we didn't anticipate we were going to get that flack. But
you shouldn't have.
The world
That's
we
just
live in
silly.
now where everybody gets upset about everything, and we just really wanted to, go, what can we do? What can we do that's different? Because I loved The Strangers. I loved Hush. I thought Hush is fantastic.
Oh my God, that's such a great Netflix film.
In a very different way than we did, because we get compared to Hush a lot. And if you read like a 2-sentence log line, you may think they're similar movies, but at the end of the day, they're really not.
Right.
They're very, very different. And I loved Hush. I think Mike Flanagan's fantastic. But we just wanted to kind of do our own weird little thing. And like I said, it was my love letter to Sarah to give her a role she's never played before. That she had to carry it, and she nailed it. She killed it.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Why don't you tell people where they can find the film, guys?
Well, it's right now it's everywhere online. If you have on-demand pay-per-view, iTunes, Amazon, any of those places, it's available to rent. I believe it's coming to Family Video and Redbox soon, once the physical DVDs are arriving.
Excellent.
Yeah, the physical DVDs are on Amazon too.
Yeah, they're pre-ordered, but I think there's been a holdup with getting those. But everywhere online you can rent movies. Charter, Cox. Cox is Frenchie, don't laugh. Cox is a...
COX.
Yeah, COX. Yes. It is a place you can get movies and stuff. So,
and hopefully many more to come.
Yeah. Hopefully, you'll see it pop up some other places, because we're pretty proud of it. We hit #1 on Amazon for new release, mystery suspense, and I think we made #7 for horror for new releases the first week it was out, which is good.
Good
for a movie that cost $25,000.
Excellent. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Obviously, I've been waiting for it since I saw the trailer sitting on your table, Rocket Shock last year.
We didn't show a lot of people that, only select people.
Yep.
Oh, well, thank you.
We didn't have a trailer go public until earlier this year.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Sarah's been like promoting it like crazy. So every time she has, I'm like, when? So, and now I'm getting the same response like from the artist posting like stuff from the book that we're working on. He's posting it, whatever, and people are like, when? And we're like, we're not done.
It's good to see the excitement.
Getting the hype up
versus.
Yeah, I have never worked on it. I have never worked on something other than like having a guest on, that people are like, when can I hear that interview? And I'm like, finally, it's coming to play this week. But that's not really me. That's the guest they want to hear more. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't do interviews a lot. Like the guy I had on from Werewolf, the series, a very old series from the late 80s, if you've ever heard of it. It was on Fox, John J. York or whatever. He's the first guest I ever had on the show. He returned to the show for the 13th anniversary. He's been on General Hospital for 27 years. Really long career, but everyone wanted to hear that interview. But again, that's mostly about him. So, I'm now dealing with like people being like, when is this book going to come out? And I'm just like, soon? Really? Do people want to read this?
It's an exciting thing to have, but it's also nerve-wracking because like some of the books I put out and some of the projects I did, I knew the response. This was the first movie for me, I think for Sarah and for Marcel, the director, Marcel Walls, that we were nervous about the response because we knew it was going to be a love or hate type thing. And some of the stuff you work on, you care about it, but you still you're a little detached. You're like, okay, I understand what is I'm doing.
Right.
This
definitely.
one was a little different.
Yeah,
this
one was such a personal project to all of us. So
Well, it's fantastic, and I look forward to the disc coming out. Again, the artwork on the cover as well is really beautiful. Who's the artist?
For that one, I actually don't know. That's a Marcel guy from overseas. I don't actually know his name.
Okay, well, let me know.
I know the cover photo of Pretty Boy that was used everywhere was taken by Stephen Shea.
Okay, gotcha. But, I know Stephen Shea. He's been on the show.
Yeah, Stephen Shea is awesome.
Yeah, he's one of those convention people that we were just talking about.
Yeah, but the But the art is been great, and it's fun seeing it pop up everywhere. Like we've seen like the movie in Russian and in Portuguese.
Oh, it's coming out all over.
Yeah,
it's interesting
excellent.
to see with the different voices too.
Excellent. Well, guys, I got to go. I thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, Chris.